If you're over 60 and you think you're eating enough protein because you have meat at dinner, you're making the exact mistake that's stealing your strength. Western seniors front-load protein at the evening meal and skip it at breakfast. Japanese elders do the opposite. They spread 40 grams of fish, 1 egg, and miso soup evenly across 3 meals. Large studies of over 75,000 people show this pattern cuts disability risk by 10 to 20%. Your muscles can't store protein overnight. So when you wake up with nothing but coffee and toast, you're asking your legs to carry you on yesterday's fuel. Within 1 week of switching to a Japanese breakfast plate, you'll notice your knees don't ache as much in the morning. In Japan, 28.9% of citizens are over 65, the highest share on Earth, and women routinely live to 87.7 years, while men reach 81.6. American life expectancy sits near 77. The gap isn't genetic luck. It's built 3 times a day on a single plate. The plate has a name, Ichiju Sansai, 1 soup, 3 dishes. Formalized in 2005 when the Japanese government released the food guide spinning top. Your doctor will never describe it this way, but it's essentially a portion control system disguised as tradition. 1 small bowl of miso soup, 1 protein dish of roughly 40 grams of cooked fish, or 1 egg, or 40 to 50 grams of tofu. 2 vegetable dishes at 70 grams each. A modest scoop of rice. That's the entire architecture. Seniors are guided to hit 3 to 5 protein servings and 5 to 6 vegetable servings per day, delivering 1.0 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. For a 70-kilogram adult, that's 70 to 84 grams spread across 3 meals, not crammed into 1 steak at night. And there's a quiet add-on most Western seniors miss entirely: green tea. Cohort studies of older Japanese adults drinking 5 or more cups daily show 15 to 25% lower all-cause mortality. This is not folklore, this is measured biology. Tomorrow morning, your kitchen. No Japanese grocery store required. Here's how. Day 1 starts before you go shopping. You do not need a Japanese grocery store. You need a regular American supermarket and about 25 minutes. Walk in and pick up protein, eggs, salmon or sardines, tofu, edamame, vegetables, cucumber, spinach, sweet potatoes, staples, brown rice, sauerkraut, green tea, Greek yogurt. 10 items, under $30. That feeds you for 7 days. Breakfast on day 1 looks like this: 2 scrambled eggs, half a cup of cooked spinach, a small bowl of miso soup made from a paste packet, and 1 cup of green tea. That single meal delivers about 18 grams of protein before 9 a.m., which is more than most American seniors eat by lunch. German nutrition surveys show 50 to 60% of adults over 65 fail to reach the recommended protein intake, averaging just 0.8 grams per kilogram instead of 1.0 to 1.2. They eat toast, they eat cereal, they eat a banana and call it breakfast. Then they wonder why their grip weakens and stairs feel taller each year. Lunch on day 1, a small portion of canned sardines on brown rice with sauerkraut on the side. Dinner, tofu stir-fried with edamame, a sweet potato, and a cucumber salad. About 42% of Americans over 65 live alone, and isolation makes cooking feel pointless. That's exactly why this template matters. You're not inventing recipes. You're following a fixed pattern: 1 protein, 2 vegetables, 1 starch, 1 soup. No decisions, no willpower. The template removes the fatigue that comes from deciding what to eat 3 times a day. Right now, your body is already responding. Within the first 24 hours of even protein distribution, your liver begins synthesizing muscle proteins at a steadier rate instead of the spike and crash pattern that follows a single heavy dinner. You will not feel it yet, but by day 3, you will. Let's continue. Subscribe if you're ready to stop accepting the health advice that's been failing you for decades. The patterns that actually work, the ones your doctor won't mention, they're everywhere once you know where to look. Day 3 is when the body starts whispering. You'll notice it first in the afternoon. That 3 p.m. crash, the one where you reach for coffee or a cookie, softens. It doesn't disappear, but it dulls. This happens because protein at breakfast and lunch stabilizes blood sugar across the day instead of letting it spike and collapse after a carb-heavy morning. It sounds too simple to be true, but a cohort study of over 75,000 Japanese adults found that those who adhered most closely to this pattern had 15% lower total mortality, not 1.5%. 15. The mechanism is not magic. Muscle protein synthesis in adults over 60 requires about 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal to activate. Eat 10 grams at breakfast, 15 at lunch, and 50 at dinner, and you've only triggered synthesis once. Eat 25, 25, and 25, and you trigger it 3 times. Triple the building signal for the same total grams. Swiss data shows 26% of those 65 to 74 and 42% of those 75 and older struggle with daily tasks like climbing a single flight of stairs. Those tasks don't fail because of age alone. They fail because the muscle fibers that lift your knee have not been rebuilt in years. By day 3 on the Japanese plate, you may notice you stand up from a chair without using the armrest. You may notice you carry groceries from the car in one trip instead of 2. Track it. Write it down. The Austrian nutrition data is especially blunt. Undernutrition is more common in overweight seniors than in thin ones. You can have a belly and still be starved of protein and micronutrients. The Japanese plate corrects this hidden malnutrition because it forces vegetables and protein into every meal, regardless of appetite. This is not a miracle. This is mitochondrial chemistry responding to the right inputs. By day 5, something else shifts. Your cravings will change, and your joints will tell you a different story. Day 5 is when the kitchen battle ends. The afternoon cookie urge, the breadbasket pull, the 9 p.m. ice cream walk to the freezer. These soften because your meals finally contain enough protein and fiber to keep ghrelin, your hunger hormone, from screaming. You're not using willpower, you're using physiology. And then there's the joints. Many seniors on day 5 report that morning stiffness in the knees and hips eases noticeably. Part of this is the omega-3 fats from fish reducing low-grade inflammation. Part of it is the extra hydration from miso soup and green tea. Part of it is simply that muscles around the joint are firing again because they're being fed. In German-speaking regions, 37% of men and 48% of women over 65 suffer sarcopenia-related weakness. That weakness is the direct path to falling. About 30% of seniors fall at least once a year, and falls are the leading cause of injury-related death in older adults. Hip fracture patients carry a 1-year mortality of 20 to 25%. This plate is not a cooking trend, it is fall insurance. Critics will raise sodium. Japan's intake runs 9 to 10 grams per day from miso and soy sauce, well above Western guidelines. Yet Japanese seniors still outlive everyone else. Why? Because the same plate delivers potassium from vegetables, magnesium from seaweed, and omega-3s from fish that counter the cardiovascular cost of the salt. You cannot extract one variable and judge it alone. The plate works as a system. Long-term cohort analyses show those following this pattern have 10 to 20% lower risk of functional disability in old age. That's the difference between needing a walker at 75 and walking your grandchild to school at 80. Austrian data shows only 33% of adults 60 to 74 meet WHO activity guidelines, but the plate makes movement easier because the body finally has fuel. On day 7, you will measure what changed. Day 7 is the retest. Pull out the notes you took on day 1. How long did it take to stand from a chair 5 times? How far did you walk before your legs felt heavy? How was your sleep? How was your afternoon energy? Now repeat the same measurements. German geriatricians report that within 7 to 10 days of increased protein and daily chair stand practice, frail patients walk faster and feel steadier. This is the turning point. The plate is no longer a project, it's a default. You stop deciding what to eat because the structure decides for you. 1 soup, 1 protein, 2 vegetables, 1 starch. Decision fatigue, the silent enemy of seniors living alone, evaporates. And the math compounds. A 15% reduction in total mortality, sustained for years, is not a small number. It's measured in birthdays, in anniversaries, in being present. Not a miracle. Just muscle, gut, and brain finally fed on biology's schedule. But before you continue past day 7, there are mistakes that quietly sabotage people, and a small group who should pause before they begin. The biggest mistake is skipping breakfast protein because old habits die hard. Toast and coffee will undo everything. The second mistake is overcomplicating the plate, chasing perfect Japanese ingredients instead of using eggs, sardines, and sauerkraut from your local store. Keep it boring, keep it repeatable. Safety matters too. Anyone with chronic kidney disease, advanced heart failure, or on protein-restricted medical diets must speak with their doctor before raising intake to 1.0 to 1.2 grams per kilogram. This plate is powerful precisely because it works on multiple systems at once, which is also why it needs medical clearance in those cases. Extend to 30 days. That's where measurable strength gains take hold. Share this with one person over 60 who lives alone and eats toast for breakfast. You will either start tomorrow morning with 2 eggs and miso, or you will forget by Friday and regret it next winter. You now know what 75,000 people in the research already proved. Your body doesn't care about tradition or genetics. It cares about what you feed it 3 times a day. The question isn't whether this works, it's whether you'll actually do it tomorrow morning, or if you'll forget by Friday and regret it next winter. Continue with the Healthy Aging Mastery playlist, your complete guide to staying strong, steady, and independent. This is educational information, not medical advice.